Maddie with Vitality Ventures Group. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Vitality Vault. This week, our guest is the one and only Rachael Rafanelli. All I'm allowed to tell you is Shannon and Rachael met over a weekend in Vegas. If you're local to the Portland metro area, you may recognize Rachael from the KGW news station. She was a news anchor, but now we know her more as an editorial content craftsman. You'll learn more about that later. I'll put all of Rachael's links in the description below if you're interested and want to connect. Lastly, before we get going, be sure you're subscribed to know when we release a new episode. Empowered women empower women. Shannon and Rachael, take it away.
See, my voice isn't perfect still. I was reading something yesterday, and I'm like, I have to talk about this to Rachael. And I guarantee you, Rachael, it was something I saw on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok all the time.
This is where I get all my information from the world.
This is the way the world is now.
Well, and they're getting rid of it, supposedly.
Well, I've been hearing that for a long time, though. Like, are they actually getting rid of it?
I don't know. Supposedly they put it in some... You know what? I'm not going to talk about this because I literally know nothing about it. Everybody who is listening, I'm talking with Rachael Rafanelli. Correct?
Correct.
I'm really bad with last names. And we're neighbors, but we really don't, we know a certain part of each other, but we don't know another part of each other. And so I never talked to you about your stint, your career as a anchor, reporter. You have to explain a little bit more to me.
Yeah, so it's both. Are we going right now?
You can, yeah. Well, we're talking.
We're talking. All right.
Tell me about, you were with KGW?
KGW, yes.
Okay, which is the local news here?
Yes, it's a news station in Portland. They're an NBC affiliate. And yeah, so I've been there, that my most recent stint with TV is locally, but in order to get to Portland, you have to work your way up. You can't just graduate and say, hey, I'm 21 years old. Let me start in this big city. So you have to work your way up. So that's what I did.
So how does that happen? So is that something you always wanted to do?
It was.
I feel like every person I've met who's and like, I know so many reporters. I know a couple, or news anchors. It's like they were born to be that way. They can do their, like, news reporter voice. Did you go to school for that?
So it's funny, the voice is not something that they say you must speak a certain way. But I think over time, when you're working, you have to enunciate very well. You have to have this presence. And so I think it just comes naturally.
So there's no class.
There's no class. There is classes where you sit and you read the teleprompter and you kind of work on your speaking. And actually, it's a lot harder than you would think. It's like, oh, it's so easy. You just sit there and read words. It's actually a lot more to it, which a lot of people don't.
Oh, I think it would be unbelievably difficult. I mean, my family makes fun of the way I talk all the time. Okay, they do. They're like, speak right. You know what I mean? Because I guess the Jersey accent or whatever comes in sometimes.
I love it.
So now, did you go to college, like, for communications? Is that the standard route?
Yeah, so I went to Washington State University, the Edward R. Murrow College of Communication.
Okay.
It's a very highly rated school across the nation for broadcast journalism. And so I actually went there originally with the intent of being behind the camera. I'm a very creative individual. I love shooting video and editing and music.
I know, you've done some cool stuff for us.
At the time, I was shockingly, I was actually a very introverted and shy person when I first started college. But over time, I kind of realized, wow, actually, I really enjoy this. And actually, because of the classes that you take, you have to be in front of the camera, whether you like it or not. And I actually found I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
So you graduate from college?
Yes.
With
it's a communications degree.
Okay.
So my emphasis was broadcast journalism. And so then what is the fun part, I say fun in quotation, is you create what's called a reel. And back when I was in college, it was something that you put video clips of yourself speaking in different situations and for news stories. And you would have done this through the college. So you have yourself, hey, I'm at this event, or hey, I'm doing this or that. So you put all those together on these DVDs at the time is what we did. And then you just send them out to different news stations across the country, and you see who might want to hire you.
Real news, fake news? Is it fake stuff?
No,
it was real stuff.
Well, it was real stuff. The stuff that was on the DVD was like college. They'd have you do different projects. And
so I can imagine these news stations probably get like gazillions of these.
A lot. They get a lot. And graduating out of college, you're only 21 years old. So you have to realize that it's not all glitz and glamour. You have to start at a really small town and work your way up for a lot of people.
Where'd you start?
I started in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Okay.
It is.
I've heard of that. What's the matter, Maddie?
Maddie's making gestures in the back.
Do you know Twin Falls, Idaho?
That's where they took all my stuff.
Who took all what stuff?
Remember when I got pulled over?
You got pulled over.
Maddie was driving. Wait, no, let's have this conversation,
Oh my
okay?
gosh.
Because
That
I love
was not
Maddie.
where I was expecting
Maddie's
that to
like
go.
my fifth child, all right? So her and her boyfriend went on a little road trip, right? Not a little road trip, a long fucking road trip to Texas for Christmas. Right? So I talked to her, like, they're driving. It's a fun thing to do when you're like 23, right? It's what you do. She brings, we're in states where there are certain things that are illegal. Not all the freaking states have that. So therefore, you don't go across states with the things that are legal here and not other places. Day one, right? Day one, she gets pulled over. But she didn't. No, I always tell her whenever she goes anywhere, I'm like, call me for bail money. That right? Do I say that every time? Call me for bail money. I will bail you out. But you didn't have to get bailed out, right?
No, they just took everything.
They took everything.
Everything, like $200 worth of things.
But Maddie, you shouldn't have had it.
I know that now.
The things. It was a very good lesson because it wasn't. You didn't have to suffer to learn the lesson, right?
I hadn't been in trouble in other states.
Were you terrified?
I was crying on the side of the freeway.
Oh, were you afraid they were going to put you in like the?
The cop gave me his jacket because he felt bad. He was like, can you calm down?
Oh, were you hysterical?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe that's why you didn't get thrown in jail.
Well.
Good job. Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so Twin Falls. There we go.
Yes, Twin
And
Falls.
see, if
I
Rachel was there, she would have reported on it.
See? I have happy memories. You do not. I'm sorry. But I loved it. I was there for 2 years. The small town feel, you really get a sense of, so I was hired as an anchor and a reporter, report 3 days a week, and then I was also anchoring the weekend nightly news for the weekend.
And that was your first job?
That was my first
and
job.
And how long after you graduate do you get this job?
So I got it just within a month of graduation.
Did you move there by yourself?
I did move there all by myself.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and just started out. I mean, obviously my family helped me move, and then there I was, and it was so great to just be like, here you are. Like, I'm an adult now. I've graduated college.
Was it terrifying?
It was slightly terrifying, but it was also just so exciting.
Yeah,
it was so exciting. So
did you then? So you're there for 2 years. Now, are you? At what point do you like? Okay, now do you then want to move out, or you get called? Like, is it?
Yes.
Is it like you get called by people? I don't even know how. Yes. Like, thank you. You've done your time. Now come up to
you've done your time.
Like
now
Major
you move
League
up to
Baseball.
a bigger city. So after 2 years, I was on a 2-year contract because with TV news you sign a contract where basically the company owns you and everything you do, and you're even down to your appearance.
What do you mean?
Like, if I wanted to dye my hair, I would have to ask permission because I am a brand, I guess.
I was just going to say, I mean,
yeah.
I know it probably sounds...
It sounds...
offensive, but it's
does,
not.
but it's really,
because
it makes
brand
sense.
identity and the comfort people have with seeing the same person who looks the same and hasn't changed makes sense.
If I was to come in with, purple hair.
Oh,
yeah.
All of the people in their houses are,
who's that? So, but to your question, so after my 2 years, I did another reel, is what you call it, and I put together stuff of me working in Idaho. And at the time, I was young. I didn't have anything tying me down, and I'm originally from Ridgefield, Washington, is where I'm originally from, but I didn't have anything. I had, no kids, nothing to hold me back. And I said, I want to see the rest of the country. So I sent my news tape just to stations all over the country to see where I might be able to end up and who would come calling. And a TV station in Florida came calling, and that was incredible.
Where in Florida?
It was in Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers?
Yes. Have you ever been there?
I've been there many times. My parents, who are now dead.
Oh, don't say it in that voice.
My mother would think that's funny.
Okay.
Trust me, Gretchen would enjoy that. She'd be like, Shannon, you're such a bitch, but that was funny.
No. Okay.
No, my parents who, they used to do the winter thing.
Yeah, the
from
snowbird.
Jersey.
The snowbird.
Yeah, because like Jersey, everybody goes to Florida, and a lot of Fort Myers and Naples area. So we used to go down there and
Snowbird
visit them.
season, we called it.
Yeah, so you were there?
Yes. So it's so beautiful.
What year is this?
So this would be 2011.
They were down there then? They
Oh,
probably
see?
watched you on the news.
They probably did. Wink TV.
Okay, so how long were you there?
I was there for then 11, 12, 13. I was there for 3.5 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I loved it, man. I don't know if you've heard the term Florida man.
Well, duh. Yes, we love Florida man. It's a real
runs
thing.
Naked down the street being chased by an alligator.
So you
That's
got
a
to
thing.
do
The
all
Florida
that
man stories. It was
fantastic.
It was so fun and just like the most random.
So what's the craziest story?
things.
Do you remember the craziest story you had a report on?
Oh.
And how do you not laugh?
Oh, I mean, you definitely have your indecent exposure stories with Florida man. You have your crazy animal stories, like alligators in someone's house.
And they're everywhere, aren't they?
They're everywhere. And I specifically lived a little bit north of Fort Myers in Cape Coral, Florida, and has more canals than Venice is the city tagline. They're man-made canals. So literally, if you look on Google Maps down at Cape Coral, it's like a grid of just water just everywhere. And all the alligators
They
love
got
it.
hit at that.
They did. They got
Because
hit horrifically at that
We
hurricane.
actually had an Airbnb for that week, and the day before we had to cancel. Yeah, we were meeting
my
all my friends. They were coming
gosh.
from all over the country, and we had an Airbnb in Cape Coral because all those little waterways.
Yeah,
it's cool as
it's
hell.
beautiful.
And it got destroyed. Got
Isn't that
destroyed.
insane?
So
My news station got flooded out. The people had to be rescued off the roof. And I would have been one of those people if I was still there.
So did you laugh? I feel like
I don't remember a lot specifically, although there was one story I remember when I worked in Idaho about, I specifically remember it was some story about an angry cat that attacked a woman. And you know when a news person is reading, there's a little picture over their shoulder? Well, whoever was working the pictures for that day chose the funniest picture of this angry looking cat, just a stock photo. And I was reading and I happened to look and see the picture, and I was like, I'm sorry. I did laugh.
But don't you love when news reporters laugh at something? Because it's
just you're a human too, and it's
and everybody else is like, Really?
I was mortified.
You were?
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired. I laughed, but.
When I first moved here from New Jersey, we were watching the news, and the news is very different. On the East Coast, the news it's New York news, so it's
Yes.
very almost international. You know what I mean? But it's a big deal. And when we first moved here, I remember I was watching the news. I don't watch the news anymore, but I was watching it, and they were
the TikTok
reporting.
news.
Yeah, the TikTok news. They were reporting on, and this is when I knew I'm in a different land, because they were reporting on Bob's trampoline that got taken away by a big wind, and Bob's trampoline will stick in my head. That I was like, so this is the news here.
All right.
Bob's trampoline.
Depends on the day.
I know.
If it's a slow news day, don't judge.
I know. So you're in Florida, and then you decide to send your reel out again.
I did. So my goal, Florida is a mid-sized market. It's a pretty big city. So the city I was in. And so as far as rankings, if you're interested, the teenier the town, the higher the number. So Twin Falls, Idaho was about market 200. And that's about as low as you can go as far as population and the size of the town. So it's market 200. Florida, I jumped up to market. It was about market 62 was a
that's
first
a big
city.
jump.
So that's a big jump. Portland is market, I want to say 21, 22. So my goal was to jump from 60 to 20. And my goal specifically was to come back to Portland because I'm from this area my whole life. And that was, I grew up watching KGW and everybody on the news as a kid, and that was kind of my dream. So I had a specific out in my contract from the station in Florida that I could go to Portland if I wanted to get a new job. So that's what happened.
So you sent it just to them, or you
sent
did
it. And I was in contact with KGW. I'm a very goal-oriented individual, and so I had job shadowed there a million years ago. I started keeping in touch with people who worked there, and so just kind of as I got older and moved up the market sizes, I would kind of occasionally send an email.
So they knew where you
So
were
they
and what
knew,
you were
like,
doing.
Hey, it's this girl. She's bugging us again. But also the importance of just networking or just
Absolutely.
keeping in touch with people. So they kind of knew that I was looking for a job there.
And so when one became
When
available,
one became available, I had to prove myself. So here's my latest and greatest, and what do you think? And they said, yeah, let's hire you.
so that's after 5 years, right?
So yes, so that was after. So I was in Florida 3.5 years. I was in Twin Falls before. Yep, so about 5.5 years of experience under my belt, and then.
So you come back
Portland.
now. Do you come back as a reporter, or does it? It doesn't matter. You have to start at the bottom.
It depends on what you're hired for. So in Florida, I was just called a general assignment reporter. So that's where you cover every day is something new. You're out, covering, an alligator in someone's house, or you're covering a city council meeting. And I fill in anchored at Florida. So weekend news or mornings a lot. If one of the main anchors was sick, I could hop on behind the desk and do it no problem. So for Portland, the role was specifically for a morning show reporter position. And I love being a reporter. I love the variety every day. You don't know what you're going to get. So I knew specifically when I came to Portland, that's what I was going to be doing. However, I did do a lot of fill-in anchoring as well on KGW.
So as a morning show reporter, what does that look like? So you get up at the same time every day? How do you know where to go, when to go? Is it like one of those last minute, like you see in the news, like, let's go and jump in the van?
It depends on the day. Like if there's, a big fire or something downtown, then it's like, let's go, which is also the adrenaline of TV news is something I loved, was that aspect. So, so the morning show, you would wake up, or my routine, people do it different, but I would wake up at 2 a.m. every day.
Right there, I'm out. Right there.
Done.
Because
that means you have to go to bed, at least for me, because I love my sleep, at like 6 o'clock at night.
yeah,
Yep,
couldn't do it.
done.
So this is now at this point you're not married and you don't have kids.
I am
right?
married, but I do not have kids.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you meet your husband in Florida?
I actually met him back in college.
Oh, so the whole time you were doing this?
Yes.
Was he
So
with you?
He
moving
was.
jobs?
So when I was in Idaho, about a year into me being in Idaho, we got married. So, and then he was a teacher, so he could just hop around to different schools wherever I went.
Okay. So now, you're back in Portland, and you're getting up at 2:00 in the morning.
2 in the morning, and then you're on TV, so you have to put on you have to look okay. So put on full face of makeup.
So do they do that all for you?
Nope. So that is also, a lot of people think, oh, you have a glam squad. At least not here in Portland. So you do your own makeup and your own dress yourself, and there's no wardrobe for that.
What a bummer, Maddie.
I know,
right?
I would love to just come in and have someone just like sit there half asleep and have someone do my face. But
so you have to come in all done.
in all ready to go. And there's a team, you have producers who've been putting the show together, and then they tell you, hey, we have this story that we want you to cover for the morning show. And then you just go out and, like, say it's a trial that's going to be happening today, then you're out in front of the courthouse in the morning saying, hey, I'm here where this trial will be happening in 3 hours or whatever.
And do they tell you what to say, or you're just like, you just go wing it?
It depends on the day. So sometimes there would be a script. So sometimes you would cover a story that the reporters at the late night shift did. So sometimes you would take a script that's already written and then just rewrite it to fit your personality and how you would speak, and then just kind of repurpose it is what we call it. Other times they say, hey, this is happening today. We have nothing on it. So get out on the scene. We need you to hurry up and write a script and then
And is it always the same crew? It's like a van and it just...
Yeah, so yeah, it's
I want it to be exactly like I see in the movies.
Yes, it is very similar to how you would see in the movies, as far as there's a news van, you're out there with a microphone, you got your cameraman. Yeah, so it's a lot like that.
And then is it, you work, I guess, what, 9 to 5?
Yeah, so the morning show it started at 4:30 in the morning. So you're at the station by 3:30, you're out the door by 3:45, you're all set up and ready to go by 4:30. And you do a couple live shots. So the morning show would be from 4:30 to 7.
Have you watched the morning show?
So actually, I
Jennifer
have
Aniston
not, and it's on my to-do list because I feel like
I want to know if
would
it's like that.
Okay, I'll get back to you on it.
It's yes.
I know. I keep meaning to. Then I get distracted.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's interesting. Well, the interactions with like the producers and all that kind of stuff are,
Okay, I'll have to watch.
You'll have to check it out. So you head on out. You go where they tell you to go, and you're all in Portland, right? So you're not going far.
It depends. So sometimes you're in Portland. Sometimes you're out in the gorge. Sometimes you're out at the coast.
How many reporters do they have? Or
so in the mornings we had just 2 of us in the mornings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like a guy and a girl.
Just whoever.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it was a close. I loved working the morning show because it was we were all getting up at 0:30. It's kind of like this camaraderie, right? You're all kind of like in it to survive and, put on a good show on. And, so that's something I really loved about it.
Do you get to pick which, are you, is the other reporter like, no, I want to go there, and
No, the producers pick.
They pick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are told where to go.
Okay.
So,
well, that makes sense.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was nice because they would say, oh, you're staying in the studio today, so you wouldn't have to leave, which is nice because they're like, oh, there's a bathroom I can use. Because, if you're in a news van for 8 hours a day on a scene,
so you just have to go to McDonald's or something like that.
Go to McDonald's.
So are you out the whole day once you go out in the morning?
Once you go out, a lot of times you're gone the whole day. Yep. And if it's a breaking news scene, then...
Were you ever, in fear of your life or in dangerous situations?
There were certain situations, especially working in downtown Portland at 0:30. It usually was never had to do with the story, but the type of people that would be out on the street at that hour of the morning.
And this was in, what year was this?
So this was 2015 is when I started.
Could you imagine it now?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably
It would
so
be-
much worse now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you started 2015. How long were you with
Yeah,
KGW?
so 2017, I found out I was pregnant with my twins. So then I worked up until 2018. It was May of 2018 where I wanted to keep working, and I was told, you cannot keep working, else you'll have your babies way too early, just because they were high risk, and I kept having to go in for, it was a whole nother thing, but horrific pain, and I was basically put on, it wasn't bed rest, I mean, that's like the term, but it was, they were like, you cannot work, because I was out in the environment, or even just being at the station still, just like the stress.
So how
of
long did you
everything.
work? When did they say, all right, you're done?
Yeah, so that was May of 2018.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how many months pregnant were you?
I was about 30 weeks pregnant.
Oh, so you worked for a while.
I worked for.
Were you out in the van?
I was out
pregnant?
in the van, pregnant.
Like, with
I
the
was
belly?
out like in the snow, pregnant. Like
Right.
I loved it. I just that's why they had to like basically physically say you cannot go back to work because but yeah, it was a lot of fun. The hours are brutal. Sometimes, sometimes the stories that you cover are horrific. You just feel so heartbroken for these families and some of these stories that you're dealing with. And I know people will say, oh, well, the media, they're just vultures. They're just out to get you. But I can assure you that not everybody is like that. We're people too. And,
Yeah, I mean, you
it
could say that
depends.
about any industry, any
could.
job. There are good people, there are assholes.
Yep.
It's just human nature. Any job is going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So,
That's so true.
Except maybe Congress. No, you don't want me to talk about politics. It's all bad, right? Like, I just can't. I don't know. Politics, I'm like, I think people start out wanting to do good and then, get corrupted.
Power corrupts you.
Well, I think you probably can't get anywhere unless you do certain things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, but the media, I mean, the
No
reporters and
comment.
stuff, I know. She's like, yeah, don't. So then you go, God, and twins.
Yes.
So were you, I know, so that was it. You didn't go back. Were you ever planning on going back?
I was planning on going back. I was full blown going to go back. I had care lined up for the babies. I was going to go back.
And your family's in the area,
and my family's
too, right?
in the area. Yeah, so I had a lot of support. The problem was with twins is that, it's no big deal. Like, you don't really understand like what a lack of sleep means.
Makes you crazy.
Makes you crazy.
Like,
And
literally
when
makes you crazy.
one of them would sleep at night for a little bit, the other one would cry. And then the other one would fall asleep and the other one would cry. And I could not string two sentences together. And I said, I cannot go back on TV and be telling people important things and then not even able to speak myself, you know? So I told the company, I said, look, this is a situation. They're not sleeping. I just can't. And they go, well, we really want you to come back.
How much time was this? Like,
So that was I did a 3-month maternity leave.
but twins. That's
But it was like a blink of an eye. It was just a lot. And then they said, well, we'll give you 3 more months. So there's some law or something that you're able to take another 3 months unpaid. But so they said, well, how about 3 more months? And then we'll see how you're doing at 6 months with everything. And at that point, it was just very apparent. I said, okay, like I really wanted to go back. But even after 6 months, it was just very, very difficult.
let's think
it's
about
just
this.
very hard.
You go 9 months making them. Okay,
Yes.
you're building human beings in your body. Then you go through all the fucking shit of having them. then you don't
them.
sleep.
Then you don't
so now
sleep.
you're looking at like a year and a half of just your body mentally, physically, just being,
was a lot.
destroyed. It's not a lot. It's too much.
Too much.
It's no normal person. Oh, now I'll do this now. I mean, and you loved your job, so obviously you wanted to go
did.
back, but we can only handle so much as human beings.
And I know, people who, other people who I know who've had twins have gone back to work. That's great. And, but I'm not going to have my mom move into my house with me to take care of my kids while I'm gone. And a lot of other people had family members who would literally move into their house to take care of their twins while they went back to work. And I said, I love you, Mom, but you're not moving. You're not moving into my house. And she wouldn't want that either, honestly. So,
right.
And so I just made the decision to, at that point, take time off work, as officially resign from TV to take care of the boys. I have twin boys, and honestly, it was the best decision I ever made, because then I could fully focus on them, and then kind of start finding myself again too.
Well, I think this. I think I've told you this, but I'm co-founder of the Bloom Foundation for Maternal Health and Wellness. Do you know this?
I did not know that,
Okay.
actually. Okay.
So my partner, who's my best friend from forever, and she was on the podcast a little bit ago, she's the director of the New Jersey postpartum stuff, right?
Okay.
She had triplets.
Oh my gosh.
But she was a labor and delivery nurse, and then she had postpartum depression.
Oh,
we'll call it anxiety.
Was she on the podcast
Yes,
recently? Okay,
yes.
yeah, I watched that one.
So, and a lot of what we're talking about, and how exhausting and how mentally it just kind of makes you nuts.
It does. It does.
And then how the psychosis
trying
some
to
people have.
survive.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, and then of course we all feel guilty because we can't do all the
absolutely.
things, and
You have so many expectations, and you're just trying to.
So, it's good, do it. And everybody's different. And some babies sleep through the night from day one.
Some do, and they're amazing. And that's, yeah. Mine were not not those ones. How do I, where's my rebate on refund on that?
I know, right? I wonder who those babies are. Because I know people who have babies that are like, oh, they were so easy. I'd be like, either you're fucking lying, or you're just lucky. Have a couple more and see how that works out.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And losing yourself, I don't know if I've ever talked to a woman who has become a mother in the first maybe 10 years who hasn't said, I lost who I was. And I've been a stay-at-home mom, I've been a work-from-home mom, and I've been work-outside the house mom. And the stay-at-home mom, where all I did was take care of my children, was the hardest thing I've ever done.
So hard.
And that's when I lost myself, because there was nothing else. I remember being like in the morning and taking my kids out on, for a walk, and then being like, okay, what time is it? Oh my God, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. I have to do this all day long. Some people love it. It's every moment of it. That wasn't me. I love my kids. But losing, and I think if you really like to work, now that's so much work being at home. It's different.
It's a lot of work in a different sort of way. For sure, I
found it to be unbelievably boring.
Well, I would want a break. So I would just be like, can I just have a break from the kids? And people are like, well, what do? You're just sitting at home all day with your kids. Like, why do you need a break? And it's like, no. Like, you don't understand. Like, I need
Plus
a break.
the mental load is
because
so
you're just
much.
so focused on.
I mean, Mother's Day is coming up. This is a great conversation to have, because Mother's Day is coming up. And as Amanda, when we were talking, we were doing another video, and Amanda was saying, no more flowers and chocolates, please. I don't want any of that stuff. How about send me away for a couple days to a hotel?
Just book a hotel, send me a spa, little self-care.
Right.
That sounds like the perfect Mother's Day gift.
And not that you don't love your kids, but
No,
you don't want to spend Mother's Day with them. I'm sorry. I never want to spend Mother's Day with my kids. Like, it was fun, like, for a few minutes, and I'd be like, I just want to be alone. Or with my friends.
Yeah.
And quiet. And not have to be at my house where I'm looking at this, and this has to get cleaned, and I have to put the dishes away, and then the laundry. And
don't want to be at the house. Yeah.
No, because that's where the work is. Mm-hmm. So your home is your work. You never leave it.
You never leave it, so.
And then you feel guilty because
you feel guilty for asking to go on a break or to have a break or to go for a girls' day or something.
And the only, I mean, I'm assuming all other mothers understand it. There's a few who, we won't talk about them. You make everybody else feel guilty too. But
now we all feel guilty again.
It's hard to understand if you haven't done it, and you can psychologically, a dad can say, okay. Mm-hmm. But again, they don't understand it because they haven't done it. And that mother thing, we worry and guilt, and we have to do everything perfect, and everybody has to be perfect, and the house has to be perfect, and everything will be. Fuck that shit. None of that fucking matters. Literally, it doesn't matter. No, kids aren't going to remember any of it.
They won't. Yeah, they're going to remember that you were present for them.
And love them.
And like doing, oh, mommy's doing this or that. They're not going to remember like, oh, mommy had all the counters wiped down and all that stuff.
Right? No.
So
they don't care.
Yeah.
They won't even know. And boys don't even see it. They
I have two
literally,
boys, so.
They have, Maddie, even, you live with a boy and it's like they don't see certain things. So now your boys are 5.
Yes, they're 5 and a half.
I love 5-year-olds.
Yeah,
Kindergartners are so cute.
They're so fun. It's such a fun age because they're so sweet and they're just.
Are they in class together?
They are in separate classes. So I have twins, and one was a lot more introverted, and the other was like me. He's very outgoing and very chatty and and so he would always kind of talk over his brother, or the brother would just kind of be quiet. So I decided, after I spoke with a lot of twins, one of my best friends is a twin, and I said, hey, what did you guys do? And came to the conclusion that it would be better to split them up. And this is a hot topic. This is a whole other topic on itself, because some people will be like, I can't believe you're splitting them up. They're twins. They're bonded forever. Like, why would you split them up? And it's like, well, I'm not ripping them apart forever. It's just for school, and they still get to see each other. And it's like, I don't want to see my
chance to develop their own personality.
It's like,
so I think I like that you split them up. I remember there were 2 girls who were twins in high school. Kathy and Chrissy Young. There we go. I said their names.
There, see?
I literally remember not what I did last week, the fact that I remember their names. But they were never apart. So they had the same, so they didn't have their own friends, and they didn't, like, I don't even know who was who. Or I don't know if I'm sure they had different personalities, but who knew?
Well, this is what's so great is, then they can have their own friends and they develop their own personality. And then I wouldn't want to be in class with my it's hard enough comparing yourself to your friends. Try comparing yourself to your sibling who's your same age, who looks kind of like you, was in your class. If I don't want them to compare all the time, with different things. I want them to be able to be like, oh, I did this. Oh, that's really cool. Well, I'm doing this. That's really cool. So just kind of develop their own.
Are they identical?
They are fraternal. They're not identical.
But I've seen pictures. They look a lot alike,
It depends on the day, especially if they're in matching clothes, then they sort of look alike. But one is taller than the other, and one has blue eyes and one has brown eyes.
Oh.
So there, I could talk all day about them, but it's great. Like,
happy Mother's Day ahead of time. Do you have plans?
Happy Mother's Day to you too.
Thank you.
Really don't have any plans at this point, which is,
they're 5. You're gonna have to make the plans.
No plans. Probably just go to a park.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully the weather will be nice.
We'll see.
So they're 5.
Anyway, they're 5.
They're in school. And you are back to work.
I am back to work. Yeah. So I wanted to, or I'm working on getting back to work. So I I wanted to do something that I love, which is communications and editing videos and all that fun stuff.
Are you? What about reporting? Are you thinking of?
I thought about it, and while I loved it, the hours alone,
It'd be tough.
It would just be really tough for me. I'm a single mother and now, and the hours would be tough. You're on call all the time. You don't have a set schedule. So for me, in my life circumstances, it would just be too much. Just too much to.
But
if I didn't have
in
any
communications.
Yes, but staying in communications. So I actually just started recently an LLC. So it's Elevate PR Media, and
Maddie will share all the links and everything to that.
And I really just focus on making social media videos and just really exploring the creative side, and speaking with businesses about different projects. And it's just something that I love to do, that I can do on my own time whenever I want. And I have a couple of very exciting
So people
things.
hire you to do like media for them?
Yes,
Like
they can.
almost like a
Yes.
reporter for hire.
Yes, it's sort of like that, exactly. So, and I've done some stuff with Vitality, and it's just so much fun to be creative and also be able to choose what I want to do and my hours and everything.
Oh,
So,
it's going to be great.
yeah.
You're going to do
So
great.
again, this is brand new. It's just getting started, but some exciting things to announce eventually. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Well, thank you, my dear. It was nice to hear about
Thank
your
you. Yes.
your backstory. You
Thank
know,
you for asking.
Yeah, and we'll talk about other things in the future. We have other things to talk about.
We have some
Dun
things.
dun dun.
Stay tuned for later.
Thanks,
Thank you, Shannon.
Hey, it's Maddie again. Thanks for listening to the end. Since you're here, I'll give you a sneak peek into our next episode. Rhonda, local business owner of Hallstrom Homes in Ridgefield, Washington, joins us to share her passion with interior design, and she's kind of got the marketing social media thing figured out. She's been featured in Southern Living and Pioneer Woman. Don't miss this one. And as always, just in case, we intend no legal or medical advice. This is just purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thanks again from Vitality Ventures Group. How are you using your power?